in figuring out where your sound went from your PC or your display when playing from your PC, one of the things that you can do to try to self-help is to look at the system tray and see where they have the speaker, and you could click on it, and over here you'll see the speaker volume or the volume on your PC. You could click there or touch there, and that will bring up the options that you have available to connect to. And if on output devices you don't see the name of your speaker, well, it means that your PC is not recognizing it. That may mean that your computer might need to be restarted. That is probably the main option and solution to this issue. The other thing that you can try to do, if on the bottom of your system tray you have an orange or a red circle, that means that there are updates waiting to be installed, and that can be keeping the sound from syncing to your computer. After you restart, in most cases, the speaker that you're trying to connect to, whether it's a Bose, whether it's an LG, whether it's a ViewSonic, whether it's a Yamaha, it will appear on the output devices. If you don't see it there, your PC is not ready to connect to another speaker that's not the speaker already installed on your computer right down there. One of the most simplest ways to self-correct the no audio issue is to take the HDMI that's hardwired from your TV and place it directly into the HDMI slot in your computer. And then the other side to the HDMI slot and back of your TV or on the side of your TV. And keep in mind that connecting the HDMI directly into your computer is not going to be brought up in the output devices, but it will take the sound right away from your TV into the computer, or from your computer onto the TV. Why is hardwiring your HDMI to the computer so useful? Is because there's no syncing that needs to be done besides connecting directly into the computer and to the TV. No Bluetooth anything, no relying on any other source that has to be discovered. Now here is where things get tricky. You want to remain wireless, and you want the Hovercam Air Hub to connect wirelessly to the Hovercast receiver right there on top of the TV. But you have no sound. You don't want to use the HDMI, so this is going to be a little bit trickier, especially if your devices are not synced. So what you're trying to do is resync them. If you're using the Air Hub, the USB-C cord has to go inside the Type-C port, not the power port. And you know the difference because the power port is indicated by small electrical or lightning current that you see right there, and the Type-C, well, it just says Type-C on it. That it indicates to you that it's for the USB-C port connection. The other one is not going to get you connected to the TV. I've seen a lot of cases where it's connected here instead of here, and that's the only thing that needs to be done. The other thing, you want to make sure that this device is on. Right now it's off. And right now it's off, but leave it on the on position. And what that will do, because this device doesn't maintain its own power, it needs to be powered by something else. And that something else will be your PC. Your PC's charging port will give this device life. So you need to plug it in and wait for it to sync. And that might take up to 30 seconds. And you'll usually hear a sound indicator telling you that's in the process of syncing. This blue light will turn on. It'll tell you that it's being powered. And then the waiting game begins there. Another thing that you have to do is make sure that this device over here is not in back of the receiver up there, because then it will have no signal. So this has to be in front. of the receiver. So to get the sound back in many cases, and you don't want to use the HDMI hardwired, you want to remain autonomous and stay wireless, you're going to have to go through a pretty simple but multi-step process. You disconnect the HDMI cord that's connected to the dongle or the back of the receiver directly. You'll take it from here. You'll connect it directly into the HDMI port on your computer. And then you will wait. From that point on, this device up here will lose its sync with this device. And then you just wait. You just wait about 5 seconds. You disconnect it. And once you hear the audio on this device, while this is connected, you take this out and you plug it back in there. That's the extent of it. And from that point on, you will have sound on your display wirelessly in about 85% of the time. Let's do that again. You want to get sound wirelessly from your Hovercam air hub paired with the Hovercast receiver on top of your TV. You've lost sound coming from the speaker, and you're in a bind, you're in an emergency. This is what you do. You take the HDMI cord that's right here in the back of the receiver. You disconnect it. The picture will go black on this side. You will take that HDMI cord you just disconnected from the dongle or from the back of the receiver, and you will plug it into the computer. And the sound will now sync directly from the computer, from the TV where it's connected, directly into the computer. Once you regain sound, it is now safe to disconnect it from the computer and back into the dongle, and your sound will be restored. 85% of the cases, that's the fix. Feel free to rewatch this video as necessary.